Ever since I was a child, I have been a witness to various reactions towards me as I was visually impaired. Many people shed tears telling me how am I going to manage my life, telling my parents how have they gone on to bring me up. Many people showered me with praises, called me someone who is super intelligent, an inspiration, role model, someone who could never make mistakes, someone who is quiet, and so on and so forth. Also, there were some who also called me and my disability sins or the deeds of my previous birth. I can tell for sure with certitude to all those who are able-bodied here that none of you would have been witness to such reactions. So, being a person with vision impairment, you might be wondering, why am I telling you all this? As a recipient of such reactions, my parents and I would have a hearty laugh, try to talk to people, trying to tell them that this is not how it should be, but all in vain. You might be wondering, why am I telling you all about all of this? So, first of all, let me begin by telling you a little about myself. As you already have heard in the introduction, that I'm Summaiya Khan, and I'm passionate about inclusion, social sciences, policies at both domestic and international level. And owing to my passion for inclusion, due to my personal and experiences in general, I have started a YouTube channel called Inclusion 360 Degrees, which talks about inclusion in various spheres of life, be it cooking, shopping, working, education, and so on, as I believe that inclusion is all-encompassing. So, let me begin from the very beginning. Talking about family. Family is the most important unit, or is the nucleus to talk about inclusion. When we do not talk about inclusion within, it is superfluous to really talk about inclusion outside. There are very few families who make an effort to bring up the children with vision impairment in par with their sighted children. Most of the families make little or no effort to bring up their visually impaired children, owing to could be their ignorance, the financial backwardness, or many a times the negative attitude about the disability in itself. So the families generally do not include the children with vision impairment in various activities, be it socializing, or are not part of their activities of their children, be it schooling, parent-teacher meeting, and so on. And the reason that they give for this exclusion is, oh, why should she or he go out shopping? Why should she go out? Why take the risk? So on and so forth, leading to a lack of disconnect with their own children. And the general trend is that the children with vision impairment are considered to be an institutional responsibility. A study by an organization called Community-Based Rehabilitation South Africa has emphasized the need for family and the role of a family in helping persons with vision impairment socialize, be it in terms of self-grooming or communication, gestures and body postures, and even talking to their friends. So, after the family's role, let's get talking about the education of persons with vision impairment. The idea of education of persons with vision impairment, or the situation of education of persons with vision impairment at the elementary level or at the primary level, is relatively better, all thanks to various institutions that have worked on inclusive education and intervention due to technology. However, the challenge lies really in the aspect of higher education, as higher education involves autonomous work, referencing materials from various resources in the library, for which the students with vision impairment do not have assistance from college or from anybody for that matter. So, had the students received such assistance, they would have done as much or even more in terms of tapping their potential, or could have done better when compared to the students with sight as well. So what really happens is the persons or the students with vision impairment must put twice as much as effort to make their notes, to refer material, taking the help of the sighted students or families, reading books. And had they had the assistance, the students with vision impairment, like any other students, could have gone out for coffee treats, for movies, or even for a date. However, this is not possible. And I believe that not being able to socialize with family and friends is not inclusion. As a student in college, I also was confronted with similar issues where I had to drown myself in referring multiple resources with the help of my parents, who called out to me notes. I had the desire to do well like any others, and eventually I managed to do well in class. However, I could not afford the efforts of my parents to go in vain. So what I really did was I had the notes that I had compiled in Braille, converted into Braille books, and had them kept in the college library. So the problem or the issues with education at the master's level were relatively less, as I had an assistive device to read hardbound books. Even this I had kept in college, and it gives me a great deal of satisfaction to tell you that the students, around 3 to 4 visually impaired students, are benefiting a great deal with the device and the Braille books. The person in charge of the library and my professors told me with great delight. Students also lack voice. The students with vision impairment also lack a voice of representation in college with regards to certain needs that they may have. It takes a mountain to convince management and college regards various facilities for visually impaired people, like scribe, extra time for exam, and so on. When I was a part of a student representative meeting with an officer to do with persons with disability, he listened to many of my concerns carefully and was very positive about it. However, he was of the opinion that persons with vision impairment must not be very demanding, as it would appear to be rude. So many a times, I also think that the general impression of the society is that students with vision impairment, or persons with vision impairment for that matter, do not have the capacity to make decisions for themselves. So I would like to recount another instance where I was very active in participating in extracurricular activities representing my college in various intercollegiate fests. However, it came to my notice that someone from the college who was of authority in making decisions decided that students with vision impairment cannot go out representing the college, citing security issues. I was really upset by this decision, and as a mark of protest, quit the association as it hurt my dignity and self-esteem. However, this never deterred me from being a part of other associations representing my college. This was about education. However, workplace and inclusive workplace becomes a tricky terrain, as education involves unilateral effort, paying a sum of admission fee, doing reference work on your own. Workplace and working involves the willingness of an employer to get you in the employment fold, as many employers are reluctant to take persons with vision impairment, as they consider them to be a tough investment or an unproductive investment due to sheer ignorance or lack of openness. This is when there are persons with vision impairment who really are reluctant to mention their disability, as with the fear that they may be denied opportunity in the stage of interview in itself. So what really happens is that there is an aspect of gender when it comes to employment here, as the employers are concerned about the security, being a woman and a person with disability, in terms of mobility and so on and so forth. Though organizations admit persons with vision impairment, they somehow fail to recognize or acknowledge the distinct identity of the disability on the lines of gender and on the lines of various other categories such as caste. So due to this, there is no support in terms of providing screen reading software, lack of representation, lack of committees, and so on. All of these reasons come in the way to provide a dignified livelihood for persons with vision impairment. inclusion is not just work or education. I think it is much more beyond that. It involves anything from socializing, like I said, to shopping, going out, cooking, and so on. Inclusion is generally approached in terms of a one-size-fits-all approach and is generally viewed through the lens of the sighteds. Sighteds meaning people who can see, as to emphasize. So generally, what really happens is, for example, if a person thinks that a visually impaired person can cook or travel independently, it is assumed that everybody who has a vision impairment could cook or could travel, not considering the various distinct issues that they have as a person. So it is also assumed that persons with vision impairment, are inspirational and have high lofty opinions. However, all of this, despite of all these opinions, they are denied from basic necessities. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the marriage malady as well. So all of you might be aware that marriage in Indian society in itself is a problem. However, the problem of marriage becomes a little too stretched when it comes to persons with vision impairment. Let me give you a little bit of the trends of how people with vision impairment get married or their unions. So, the boys or the men with vision impairment land up getting married to a girl who could be sighted, fully sighted, partially sighted, and the situation is lopsided towards the men in terms of weddings. This is because of their gender in itself and also that they have a job. However, this is not the case with a girl, and if the girl wishes to get married, she and her parents have to succumb to various unwarranted pressures like how much dowry you're willing to give, what is the property that you're going to write in the name of a guy, and so on. But if two consenting parties, be it completely blind or blindness in partial sense or completely sighted, if they mutually agree to be married, the society is highly resistant and vehemently opposes such unions. So the various questions that they ask is that how is the girl going to cook? How is she going to serve her husband? How is the boy going to lead her by the hand? And the irony is, none of these questions apply to the men. So, these marriages are opposed, and though there are dialogues regarding interfaith weddings, intercaste weddings, there is little or no dialogue regarding marriages of persons with vision impairment. So, like I mentioned before, inclusion is not an idea of sauce for the gander, could be sauce for the goose. Even today, there are questions about persons with vision impairment which are as basic as how do you dress, how do you even take a shower, how do you eat, and many other things like that. And there is also a tendency of treating persons with vision impairment as juveniles or as kids, no matter how qualified they are, and no matter how much they have grown. I mean, my mom and everyone sitting here might be wondering, this is done actually in the guise of being overprotective. So it leads to a tendency of infantilizing a person with vision impairment. Many a times persons with vision impairment are treated as recipients of charity, no matter how qualified they are, how economically well-to-do they are considered to be recipients of charity and a means to earn good deeds from the Almighty. So trust me, I have been a witness where when I have been going out shopping, I have been witness to such reactions. So there is also the tendency to think that persons with vision impairment lack the autonomy to make decisions, even in terms of financial management. I would like to recall an instance where a bank denied a person with vision impairment, who is a friend of mine, loan for one of his financial transactions. He was denied loan. So before I would like to conclude this session, I would like to leave you all with a few thoughts, few questions. As a organization or as a decision-making authority, do you have committees set up for persons with vision impairment where you can deliberate and discuss their issues? Do you think of providing persons with vision impairment the right to recourse? Are you willing and open enough to admit or take people with vision impairment into jobs and giving them a chance to prove themselves? How do you make friends? If you look at persons with vision impairment, are you open to listen to them? Do you treat them with sympathy? How do you make friends? All I would like to say is, inclusion and treating persons with vision impairment is as normal and is as simple as treating any other persons. You may have your fights, your disagreements, your moments of joy and everything. And please consider persons with vision impairment as equal and with as many as flaws and imperfections, and not mere monoliths or lofty superhuman beings. Thank you.